안녕하세요. Hey, this is Tyler, my friend's physiotherapist.
Hi everyone, my name's Tyler. I'm a physiotherapist at a few private practices, and I specialize in musculoskeletal therapy. In terms of my skill set, I use a lot of manual therapy, dry needling or IMS, and lots of exercise because my background is in fitness. I used to do personal training before I became a kin. I studied at UBC kin for 4 years, did my bachelor's, and then I did my master's of physiotherapy at UBC for 2 years.
Yes. Requirement for getting into the physio school?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, you need at least a 4-year bachelor's, and that can be any bachelor's. I know people who did their degree in psych and arts. I know people who did their business, science. As long as you fulfill your requirements, which is on the website link to apply based on the university.
Is it all like different, depends on the university, or?
Sometimes they're a little bit different, but you need at least in general an anatomy course, physiology, statistics, a psychology course, and English. And you need a certain percentage, usually it's about over 72% for it to be considered. Schools look at your last 10 courses, your last 30 credits, and you need an overall GPA of around, usually it should be high 80s to low 90s for it to be competitive to enter.
Okay, so how many volunteer hours do we need to become a physio?
Yes.
Or what kind of the volunteer do we have to do?
Yes, good point. So on top of doing all your prereqs, you need a minimum of 70 hours of volunteering with a group or people with disabilities.
So you go to like hospitals or like...
Yeah. On top of the hours, you also need a minimum of 2 references. Yes, at least 2 academic references, and then you also need a professional reference. So that could just be from your supervisor, from your volunteer organization, or from some sort of job that you work at. Yeah, just to show that you have good character. 100 people apply every year at UBC.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's actually probably invite about 160 to do the MMI, which is the multiple mini interview. It's like an interview, like you're doing these scenario-based questions.
Okay.
Yeah. And then from the 160 that do the interview, about half of that get accepted. So it's a really small class. It's about 80 students per cohort. So 80 students get in per year. And it's pretty much the same, relatively the same for every province. Usually there's about 1 school in every province in Canada. In Toronto, there's about 3. And usually class sizes are about the same, like 60 to 80 students.
How much does the PT makes per year?
Well, that's a very personal question.
Can't
answer that. No, I'm kidding.
You can just say like in general.
I'm kidding.
Like,
so in terms of wages for a starting new grad, it really depends on if you're working in the public sector, so like in the hospital, or if you're working in private practice. 2 very different things. So if you work in the hospital, like you get benefits, you get vacation, and so.
And then like a specific hour that you have to be in a schedule.
Yeah, and you get the public is different because you get paid per hour, and usually in the hospital here in BC, you're probably being paid around like $35 an hour starting. So as like a new grad physio starting in the hospital, you're probably making around like 60 to 70,000 starting, and then you have benefits on top of that.
Okay.
And then for a private practice physio, so a physiotherapist that works in a private clinic, they're probably, the ceiling is a lot higher.
Because that's more self-employee?
Yeah, because you're a private contractor. So because you're self-employed, you're a private contractor. And so you set your own hours, meaning that you can work as much as you want or as little as you want. So the harder you work, the more you make. Right. And you're making a percentage per patient.
Yeah.
So based on that, you're probably making around anywhere from like 70,000, 60, 70,000, all the way to like 150,000.
150,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you make more money, then you have to pay more taxes, of course, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Same as RMT.
Yeah, you're gonna be put in that higher tax bracket, but obviously there's ways to
expense.
to help deduct those costs, because you are sole proprietor, self-employed, so you can write off a lot of things, which is nice. Like the government allows that to help you out because you are paying for a lot of things out of pocket. Like, and also like donations, RSPs, writing off your expenses like for equipment, tools, travel, stuff like that.
So I have a questions for license exam.
Can't talk about it. It's top secret. Okay, no, I can talk in general. Like what it looks like.
After 2 years master study, like you have to do a license exam to become an actual physio, right?
Yes.
But like in RMT school, we have 4 different exams
to
pass.
Yes.
But how about physio?
I would say for our licensing board exams, there's 2 main exams. There's 2 parts. So the first exam is a written exam. It's about 200 questions. You go into a facility and...
Is it all like a multiple choice or...
Yeah, it's all multiple choice. Okay. You do it in front of a computer.
Okay.
And then the second exam is the clinical portion. So it's the simulated scenarios. And there's about 16 stations. And that usually takes the whole day. Yeah, so it's a pretty intensive exam. And there's an examiner in each room, and they mark you to see if you're at the standard. And I would say that's the harder exam. Yeah.
So that's the 2 different parts. Like one is just written like that, and one is just hands-on practice exam.
Yeah.
Like people go to Australia to get the master's degree.
Yeah, I would say like there's more opportunities to apply when it comes to Australian school. There's more Australian schools in general, and their deadlines and their cutoffs are like different from Canadian schools. Like you can actually... There's like 2 admission cycles. You can apply twice in a year for... but what's nice is if you train in Australia, you can actually work there without doing the license exam. So they're automatically qualified.
Become a PET,
yeah. And I don't know if your viewers want to hear this, but like for Americans, they do a 3-year program. So it's 4 years bachelor's and then 3 years doctorate.
But they don't need to do any of the license exam.
No, they do.
They do?
Yeah, they still do.
So American, they have to do it, but... Australia, they don't really need to do it.
No, they don't.
Oh, okay.
It really depends on the country.
Is it worth it to become a physio?
No. It's not worth it.
Do you want to recommend this job to the other people who is thinking about the physios or not?
Sure. For physio, if you were thinking in terms of like, trying to judge if it's worth it financially, I would say totally. Because like definitely in terms of like if you want to make an honest living, right, like tuition is actually really affordable. If you
think about in the future,
here in Canada, tuition is about 16,000 for the 2 years.
16,000 for a total of the 2 years.
Yeah, for UBC, and I would say I've asked other friends that studied out east in Canada, and they're saying it's kind of the same, like 20,000.
Okay.
For tuition after 2 years, and I say financially it is worth it. Going back to your question, is it something worth it in terms of your career aspirations, or does it really relate to you as kind of like meeting your goals? Like I think you have to take a step back and kind of look at yourself in the mirror and kind of see what you enjoy in life and like what
do
agrees.
You help the people?
Yeah.
Or do you like to help people and kind of stuff too, right?
Yeah, like I think you need to ask those questions about yourself. Like, what can you see yourself doing every day? Do you like engaging with people? Do you like talking to people, interacting with people?
Right, yeah.
But like with that, like you need to. I think if you're a student out there and you're trying to figure out what kind of career you want to get into, which is a pretty daunting task and it's pretty scary because you don't really know what you're good at. Like when I was 22, I had no idea what I was good at. I didn't even know if if I was going to be, if something that I wanted to do. And I think like my best advice would just be, do some research, go job shadow people, to kind of get a glimpse of what it's like. And I would say just jump right into it. Like, just take the leap of faith. As long as you're committing to something, as long as you're going to school, you're developing yourself. Yeah, and then you can feed onto that. Yeah, just take the first step, which could even just be me enrolling into that course in anatomy or physiology. That gets you closer, that narrows your options, and you can start looking at like, what in healthcare do you like?
The last questions.
Yeah.
This is kind of physical job too, because you have to see people's around, and then like you actually see different persons. So do you feel tired like after work usually? Like
I'm dead right now. I just finished a shift. I'm exhausted.
Because he just finished his shift today, and then I didn't work today, so I'm pretty fine.
I mean,
I was resting at home.
Yeah. It could get pretty tiring. I would say
it does. I think it's like a really hard job. Yeah.
Like we talked about a lot of like the financial kind of benefits and how you profit, but it's not always about money, right? It's also like if you really care about this job, you know, you're gonna keep going. You're gonna go. I would say like physically it can be quite tiring, especially based on your style. If you're doing a lot of like manual therapy work, you know, you're like doing a lot of hands-on stuff. There's like as you get more experience in the profession, there's a lot more strategies that you can use to help protect your hands or your positioning, your body mechanics. So like as you get older and as you get more experience, you start learning all those tips and tricks, right?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that was my last question.
Okay.
So thank you for coming.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. You're totally welcome.
Yeah, it was really nice talking to you. So.
Thank you. 안녕하세요.
No, you actually say 안녕히 계세요.
안녕히 계세요.
Yeah, that's like the bye one. So see ya.
안녕히 계세요.
Okay, see ya. See you in the next video.